Okay, hi. So I want to talk a little bit about intrigue and subtext, um, and more about creating effective dialogue. So you've likely heard that age-old maxim about public speaking. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. And that is great advice for giving a speech, but it is not so great for writing a story. You really, with a story, you're trying to build incrementally, increment by increment, right? Until you get to that climactic portion, and then you have your resolution. So how do we do that? All right, so when I'm editing, this is what I find, and this is not just for editing students. When I'm editing manuscripts that have been sent in for magazines, or even professional writers, what I'm finding at times, depending on the writer, is that either I'm being beaten over the head with the meaning of the story, or I'm completely in the dark, right? I have no idea what this is about. So the trick is finding that happy medium. So one of the primary ways to weave in subtext is through dialogue, right? And here's where I think there is often misunderstanding about what the purpose of dialogue is. All right. So you might have heard the iceberg theory. It's been attributed to Hemingway, although I think some other writers have claimed that they invented it as well, which is that characters, and this is true of conversations as well, are like icebergs. So you as the writer know a whole lot about that character, or about that conversation. We as the reader are only seeing the very tip. So everything else is under the ocean, right? And only the tippy top is visible to us, but that tippy top is informed by everything under the ocean. All right. So so all of the meaning and what the characters want, what they're after, that's all hidden. But you as the writer know that, but it has to come through in dialogue. So I'm going to just go through this very brief story called Wants by Grace Paley. It's a flash fiction piece. And I want you to look at how dialogue is working in here. So I saw my ex-husband in the street. I was sitting on the steps of the new library. "Hello, my life," I said. We had once been married for 27 years, so I felt justified. He said, "What? What life? No life of mine." So in these scant 43 words, we're transported into the lives of two disparate people whose totality we could never fully comprehend, yet whose depth of thought and complexity are clearly on display, but all underneath the surface, right? So we see that the husband and the wife are in completely different pages here, right? We even get the voice of both these people, and something of their mood, their tone. So dialogue, you're not going to be revealing actual thoughts of the characters, right? People, and this is true in life too, we often speak past each other than with each other. We speak with an agenda. All of us speak with an agenda, but this is even more succinct and visible in fiction, right? When you're in conflict with somebody, you typically do not state that you're in conflict, right? You get upset about the dishes not being done, or about the laundry that's been unwashed, or the lawn that's not been mowed, or the bill that's not been paid, right? That's how we get out our anger. And that's where characters need to get it out too. In fact, they might often be very quiet around the actual issue, right? The son comes home drunk, and the father's angry at the mother because he thinks she's the one who's supported his sort of lavish lifestyle, but he doesn't say anything about that. But he does mention the dirty coffee cup in the dish, in the sink. Dialogue is not transcription. So you're not just writing what somebody would say, right? There's this compressed quality to dialogue, and it's not really how we speak in real life. However, the essence is true to real life, right? And we are trying to represent that essence. We're not just recreating how somebody might speak in the street, right? Because otherwise your story would go on forever, right? But we want to capture that essence. So here's the ending to Paley's flash fiction story Once, and watch what happens here. So I said, okay, I don't argue when there's real disagreement. I got up and went to the library to see how much I owed them. The librarian said $32 even, and you voted for 18 years. I didn't deny anything because I don't understand how time passes. Okay, so she's like, I don't argue when there's real disagreement. I got up and went into the library to see how much I owed them. So she's taking an action, right? So she's just spoken to her husband. Now she takes an action. The librarian said $32 even, and you've owed it for 18 years. We don't get any, oh, 18 years. I'm so surprised by 18 years. That's a long time, right? I don't deny anything because I don't understand how time passes. Okay, so in other words, we're not even getting interiority here of her sort of mulling over the fact that that's a really long time, or how she feels about having just seen her husband or anything else, but that because we're not getting any explanation, that landing on because I don't understand how time passes carries a whole lot of weight and tells us a lot about this character. So it's really because of her actions that we get that further development, right? What does she do when she sees her ex-husband in the street? She goes to the library to see how much she owed them. There are hidden depths in this line. Why does she do that thing specifically? It is up to the reader to unearth this meaning. This is the essence of the story and the essence of the character. So you really want to think, how is the action going to reflect how the character sees herself, and what is at the heart of the story that you're writing? Character drives plot and plot reveals character. And this is true of literary fiction. All right. Genre fiction is a little bit different, where you actually have a plot and you're sort of figuring in, it's more paint by numbers. But in literary fiction, everything comes out of character. So that is what's driving your plot. And you really want to understand why your characters do certain things and why they say the things that they say. You want to have some sense of what they're feeling. So when they're speaking, they're feeling something, right? But they're not going to come out and say, I'm angry at you because you cheated on me, right? They're going to focus on the small details in front of them, or the specifics, or something, or some, they might have some strange reaction to something, right? Which is true to life as well. But you're capturing the essence of that. And you're remembering that characters are speaking with their own agendas and speaking across from each other. Okay, so happy writing.